Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. This week, I will be opening Stand Up and Thrive on Thursday. If you're interested in Stand Up and Thrive, you can get on the wait list right now, or just wait until Thursday when I open the cart for about a week. And Stand Up and Thrive has the advantage of I will answer your questions faster if you are a paying subscriber, if you're a paying member. And the answers that I record for that group go into that group's pages so that it is only for that group. So let's move forward. Today we have Christine. Christine has a bomb drop of June 4th, 2022, a date of marriage of 2019, and she has a Vanisher. She's not familiar with energy level yet. She says, on bomb drop, I kicked him out because he was listening. He was listening to how I felt. I'm guessing you meant he wasn't listening to how I felt. I was going through other trauma, and he even blamed that for getting between us. It was about my kid's dad. He's blocked me from everything now. His family doesn't talk to me or my kids. He's blocked my kids as well. He's living with an alienator, and there's no divorce on the table. I really am not sure if this is midlife crisis. He quit his job on bomb drop. He went to live with his mom in Florida. He planned on moving there when his kids even live here. But then a month later, he moved back, and he was living with the alienator. On bomb drop, he told my daughter, who's 17, and my 13-year-old son that we just didn't work and that therapy wouldn't work. We didn't work out. I'm now left in limbo, and I feel like I'm going crazy on the why he doesn't even reach out. I don't know what I should do because he's a Vanisher. Well, he can be a Vanisher, but you can reach out to him. Now, is it a midlife crisis? I have no idea, but I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon in the same manner I would with most. And here's why. And sorry, it's one of those things that I feel badly about sometimes, but I'm going to because your marriage is 2019 and your bomb drop was 2.5 years later. Late 2019, you got married, 2.5 years later, and there's a bomb drop. And not only that, late 2019, what happened a couple months after your bomb drop? October 19th, 2019, you got married. What was it? 5 months later was the world shut down for COVID. So we had a global pandemic happen in the world. Everything just changed. So you got married, and then immediately a global stressor happened. But I'm looking at the short time period that it's clearly a second marriage, or relationship for you. So you're bringing in steps to the group. I am not convinced that he was committed. And maybe he was, because you haven't talked to me about that before, but you had to kick him out. He wasn't listening to how you felt. He wasn't taking your feelings into consideration, in other words. He was being immature. He was blaming you. And it was about the kid's dad. That kind of thing is a standard conflict for step issues. I come from step families. Trust me. I'm familiar with it. And now he told him, well, he just didn't work out. Unfortunately, in marriages with steps like this, that can be what happens. It doesn't work out. And it might not work out because the attitudes are, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The attitudes are, I'm marrying her, not her family, not her kids. But the kids are part of the package when they're younger, and they can interfere in that. All sorts of things. And it sounds like he might not have had the maturity for it. And I don't know if you did. I don't have information on that. I'm looking at what he said. You feel like you're going crazy. He doesn't even reach out. He doesn't have the maturity to. So is it a midlife crisis, or just because midlife crisis, they regress, they're immature. But was he already that way? Not even saying narcissist, because maybe he has narcissistic tendencies. But it feels like this may be more who he was rather than this crisis. And the other thing, when I see short-term marriages, the other question that pops up was did you marry an MLCer? Not is he in a midlife crisis now. Did you marry somebody who was in a midlife crisis? Because that was, maybe you were the alienator, or maybe you're not the alienator, but you're the midlife crisis relationship. Because let's say somebody goes through a midlife crisis, but they're not in a relationship, so it's not a betrayal and it's legitimate. And maybe you married someone who was in a midlife crisis, so you married the temporary personality. I don't know. But he is not committed to it. And that's what I'm sensing on this. He was callous to your children, to you. He didn't take any of it seriously. You can reach out. Now, what about, he's not bothering to file for divorce because it's just not important to him. None of it is important. It's just a hassle. He doesn't want to have to deal with that sort of thing. He doesn't want to deal with adulting. So you have to figure out what you're going to do. You can not deal with adulting, or you can say it's his job and I don't need the paperwork, so I can just let him file when he needs to file. And if it comes to a point where I am at a point where I want a new relationship and want that paperwork done, or I need to file for financial reasons, that sort of thing, I can do it, or you can do it now. Get it out of the way. Sure, he's a vanisher, but he's a vanisher because I don't get the feeling he cares. And I want you to think about what you're going to do with that. He doesn't, you don't have to insist on his being a vanisher. You can contact him. Follow the rules of smart contact when doing that. But you can do it. But that doesn't mean it's going to suddenly bring him back. And if it did, if he started to show interest in you, let's say he broke up with the alienator, shows interest in you, first thing, he's going to go away again. And I don't say that because of the pattern I've seen with him. I say that because MLCers do. My husband came and left 8 times. He's probably going to get back with the alienator, all that stuff. The affair's not really over. But I trust him to be charming and know how to reel someone in. And then let them go again. He's going to be catch and release. And is that what you want? So I want you to think about that. Or do you think you can get him to catch and not release? And how are you going to do that? I'm not asking you as a gotcha question. How are you going to do that? I'm asking, what is your plan if there's a catch that you don't release again? What is your plan to work on it? How are you going to encourage that in him? And are you going to accept that it might not? That might not work out. That you might not even get to the point where you get to try that out. Because he's a vanisher. He's disinterested and likely immature. Which sucks, I know. I'm so sorry. But I hope this still gives you some help on the track you can go and some ideas. Okay? And I will see everybody in the next question.